there, friend. Welcome or welcome back. I'm Monica Brooks, a multi-passionate entrepreneur who at times still has no idea what I'm doing with my life, but I choose to show up and keep going each and every day. I'm a former corporate girl who thrives on leadership, improving my life, and I love talking with people. On this podcast, you'll hear stories from people who will inspire you and challenge you to grow in ways that may feel a little uncomfortable. Whether it's by starting your own business, learning how to fail and fail fast, growing within a company, or maybe even showing a little bit of grit in life, you'll hear from an array of people that will leave you inspired and encouraged. Out of all the podcasts that are available, I'm glad you chose to listen to this episode today. Let's get started. Hey there, it's Monica Brooks. Welcome to a mini episode. I'm really excited about today's topic because I've been meaning to talk about this. And I keep getting reminders throughout the day, like, oh my gosh, this was so good. And it's about an article that I read, and it talks about, as leaders, what our goal should be and what it shouldn't be and why. But I also like to apply this to parenting because as parents, we are also leaders as well. And maybe you're saying, well, I'm not a parent, this may not apply to me. Well, in some way, we lead younger people around us. So you can look at this however which way you want, but there's just some really good points I want to share, and hopefully you can apply this in your life in a practical way. This article comes from Inc.com, and it's about YouTube's CEO, Susan Wojcicki, resigning from her job. And the author of the article, Jason Atten, talks about a few things. One I really want to hone in on as far as what caught his attention, because they aren't typical of what you're hearing from a CEO. And what he talks about is that Wojcicki was intentional about working herself out of a job. Does that sound crazy to you? Have you ever heard somebody say, job security, we want job security? That means there's enough probably going wrong that they need you in that job. And this was not the intent of Susan Wojcicki. So she was intentional. She worked herself out of a job, but she did it by surrounding herself with a team capable of continuing on without her. Does that sound crazy to you? Sometimes I think our ego gets in the way of wanting to feel needed, wanting to feel like we have the answers and that we're dependent on to get things done. But Susan Wojcicki created a very strong leadership team, and that was one of her first priorities. But I'm going to quote this article because this paragraph is so good. It says, "That should be the goal of every good leader, though far too often it isn't. Far too often, the goal of many leaders seems to be to justify their own existence by making sure there is no one else prepared to do their job." Shocking, but probably true. And he goes on to say, the problem with that and why that's not a good thing is because a business, a department, organization, whatever it may be, will never grow beyond the capacity of its leader. And this is so true. Flip this to parenting. Imagine your goal in life was to be a good parent. Therefore, you make sure the needs of your children or children around us are met in any way possible. Well, if that's what you're doing and you're not teaching them to do it on their own, they're only going to be as good as what you've taught them. And what they may end up doing is relying on other people as they get older to solve their problems because we never showed them how to do that. One of my most favorite ways of doing this with my own son is through the power of asking questions. I love asking questions through any problem that he brings me. 100% of the time, I'm going to ask a question in return. I will not solve his problem. Whether that's I'm bored. That is not our job as parents to fix our child's problem if they're bored. That is their problem. And so I ask the question, well, what can you do about that? It's the same thing even in leadership or in any organization that you work with or any position you might be in. The power of asking questions can help empower your team. It can build their confidence so that over time, they begin to learn how to solve their own problems, and they're coming to you less for you to figure it out for them. which results in an empowered team, which is amazing. And this was one of the things I had the pleasure of doing at my last corporate job, was teaching them how to problem solve, showing them how to problem solve simply by asking questions. What that meant for me was less interruptions in the day, less time putting out fires. Did I work myself out of a job? No. It allowed me more time to work on things that were more important as far as why I was a leader. Because I believe most leaders aren't hired because they're good at answering emails, they're good at putting out fires. As leaders, we want to move a department or organization forward. And that's why the way you lead, the way you build a team around you is so critical to being successful. Talking about leadership and empowerment and legacy, those are all things I'm really passionate about. I have a free download on my website if you're interested. It's 5 ways to empower your team. And it will get you signed up for my newsletters that I send out, things that just give you perspective in life that help you improve in your own personal skills as well. So be sure to check that out if you haven't already. That is a wrap for today. So I like these little mini episodes. It's not going to take much of your day, but I'm going to give you as much good information as I possibly can. That's it for today. Until next time.